top, in the top of the bottom left side, we have a blue Zerg player fighting for NC Sports, Serral. And in the top right side, we have ourselves a red Protoss player for the Storm Gamers. It is MAXPAX. Another qualifier, another best of 3. One of these players will be able to participate in the King of Battles. The other one will have to prove themselves once again in the loser match. Tight rope right now. Neither of these players so far, I believe, let me double check that actually, has MAXPAX had a perfect run so far as well through this bracket. Seems like I have put my brackets underneath what we're watching right now, so we'll watch that some other time. It's alright. Ooh, a forge. A forge. What is the meaning of this, MAXPAX? What are you doing, you sleazy little bugger? Alright, there he goes. There's the probe. There's the drone. Panic mode engaged for Serral. Is he going to be able to get any blocking going off? No, he isn't. That's 3 pylons. This base may have to be starting the production somewhere else. Is he going to let it finish? You at least want to let it finish as far as possible, right? Because then the pylons and such are done, and then MAXPAX can't cancel it himself. He still has that investment, so Serral, yeah, restarting that hatchery somewhere else. Still 1 cannon potentially going up here. It looks like it will be. And okay, wonderful. Serral realizing, okay, he's cancelled his offensive. There's nothing absolutely bonkers coming up behind this. Right, no robo or anything like that. Stargate is being planted down as well. MAXPAX fortifying the entrance of Serral's main base. No sir, it's just 1 cannon remaining there, I suppose. Serral's gonna be okay with that. Doesn't need the second gas, so I'm gonna... Yeah, is he gonna go for a counterattack though? That's a good question. 25 of 30 supply. I don't think he will, because he just doesn't have the supply for it, does he? A bit surprised actually with how badly Serral is supply booked right now. Even doing a drone trick to get another roach out. Might be looking to try and get across the map here. Transform into a couple of Ravagers and start poking the front door of MAXPAX. Could that be the attempt? That was also, by the way, guys, well, that pylon right there. Was that a secondary attempt at another cannon rush? Was he just like, alright, well, here we go. Or was he trying to build a pylon wall so that Serral couldn't move drones back and forth? Or units down the... wow. So many questions. A little bit of a lonely pylon there if it does get targeted down by Ravagers. Quite a lot of static defenses and production facilities, it seems, at the front door being powered by this. Actually, that is a shoot battery in the production tab there on the left. There you go, Serral starting to be annoying himself as well. Only 3 Ravagers though. Gonna force some multitasking out of MAXPAX. Uncomfortable feelings overall. He's gonna have to chrono out those Stalkers here and, well, produce more Stalkers, I suppose. With only 3 Ravagers, there's really only so much you can do, huh? Island's gotten rid of as well. MAXPAX transitioning into the Twilight Council. Looking for potential follow-up here. Could it be Adept Glaives? Could it be just Dark Templars? We'll have to wait and see. He did make a lot of Stalkers. And he is going to go for a 3rd base, so don't want to take Blink out of the equation either. Okay, it will be Blink. And Dark Templar, alright. If he starts Adept Glaives right now as well at the same time, well, that would be something. Just all the predictions I've made coming true. I've never seen the Cast the Curse work this way. I said he was gonna go one of these things, and then he just does all three at the same time. Interesting. But no, there's the Blink. Upgrade. Dark Shrine. I think that's the Dark Shrine underneath the Twilight, right? So that's spotted. No surprise there for Serral anymore. He's gonna start building an extra Spore Crawler. He's got the Lair on the way. Like, Dark Templar aggression most likely won't do that much anymore, right? And at least we're gonna assume that Serral should be prepared for this now. If he's not, I mean, then, you know, he probably didn't win that many tournaments. Which he did, so we're gonna assume... gonna assume that should be okay. The Blink upgrade may still come in with a bit of a punch, though, of course. That is supposed to hit. I believe it's the 4th base of the Zerg, right? Around the time when that is gonna get established. Start coming in, cancel the 4th base, you move back. And then you just put the Zerg behind economically. You force out a lot of units, putting them back even more so economically. It's a good all-around move. Okay, two drones going down here for the DT. You know what? I guess I was wrong on that as well. Infestation Pit for Serral coming up. We saw him play against Showtime. Pretty much this style, right? I mean, it's different, of course, because there was so much aggression in the early game going on with the Cannon Rush and the Ravagers and that type of thing, but... like, he has managed to kind of... transport his way back into the same situation. There's the Hive. Oh, Hydralisk then this time around. Very, very interesting. I hope that wasn't a misclick and he wanted to get the Spire. I don't think it was. So yeah, maybe just kind of considering that MAXPAX is a more aggressive player. I would say he's more focused on the multitasking harassment as well, rather than Showtime, right? Showtime is all about denying your aggression, and MAXPAX still quite the aggressive player. So maybe this is why Serral not opting to go for the slow-moving Brute Lords in this one. Or maybe he's just keeping the Brute Lords in store for a later game in this series. MAXPAX may as well watch that previous game against Showtime, of course. Might have a wrong idea as to what Serral is trying to transition into. Because look at this, not a single Hydralisk has showed up yet. He hasn't shown a single Hydralisk yet. Charge coming in. Disruptors? Okay. Those are the right tools to get for this type of situation, though. So I assume he has gotten a scout off at some point in time. Either that, or he hasn't seen the previous games. Disruptors, good way to try and eliminate those lurkers, of course. Get them out of their comfortable positions. No air army transition for MAXPAX yet, though. This could be interesting, right? I do enjoy a bit of gateway heavy style Protoss. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's like the Protoss playing a little bit like a Terran player in a sense, right? Just endlessly being across the map, utilizing high mobility with Blink Stalkers and Charge Zealots and War Prisms. There we go. Big first fight is coming in. That Disruptor shot, ooh, just barely getting yoinked away by the Viper. Saving more roaches than I wanna even think about. So many roaches, so much death being avoided there by that Viper. And then of course killing himself, well, not the Disruptor, I mean. Doing a killing as well. Right. Disruptors keeping things at bay, but those lurkers keeping the Protoss army at bay a little bit more efficiently so far. Nowhere really for MAXPAX to push in. Serral quite aware of the army movement of his opponents here. A couple of roaches trying to get whatever they still can. See that the entire army is moved over to the right side now, so you can already respond to this. No bases here to defend just quite yet for Serral, but is there? Wait, there is. Hold up. I don't think there's mining going on though. There's the Stargates. Wait, there's 3 in total, plus 1 air weapons as well. Alright. It's incredibly rough to play this kind of cat and mouse game as the Protoss, right? And not go into the Stargate units. Just so much more firepower and the potential to just blast a position of the Zerg away if they have just a couple of those lurkers there. Nidus. Oh, Nidus coming in for Serral. Yeah, some overseers kind of in the neighborhood as well of the main base of MAXPAX. Could be looking for entry right there, of course. MAXPAX without that many air units around. I mean, if there's a big ball of lurkers suddenly in the main base of MAXPAX, I think that could be it, right? Because how is he gonna deal with this? He has enough supply to make a warping happen. This is crucial, so he can deny this first Nidus Worm. Quite a good job. And hopefully he's going to be able to set up a couple of carriers before a actual Nidus Worm appears somewhere in one of these bases. Because sure, you can try to clear it out with Disruptors. But you don't have that much time when dealing with lurkers in your main base, right? You're going to start losing production. And it's probably not really what you want. A good shot down there by Serral. Getting one of these War Prisms. Another one over here. We did hear a Nidus Worm as well pop up somewhere, but looks like not quite a successful one either. MAXPAX has definitely improved though, hasn't he? Very fun to see his progress coming in through as well. No units in the Nidus this time around. Even without units though, it's still gaining value. I know it's not killing anything, but it's keeping 3 carriers in the main base instead of with the main army. That is worth quite a bit as well. Getting a kill on a Hatcher, a Nexus there also. MAXPAX just being spread thin. Losing Disruptors left, right and center now. Serral gaining more and more of an upper hand in this battle. He's taken out a base. It's been a while since MAXPAX really tried to put any pressure across the map, except for, I guess, that War Prism right now. Still there, still just hanging out on the edge of the map. But he hasn't really achieved that much with it. Ooh. Rough spot for those stalkers. Seem to be okay. They seem to be okay. They're not too hurt, those stalkers. Don't worry about them. Yeah, this is so frustrating for the Protoss, right? Because if you miss one of these, and the army does actually come in through that Nidus, you are in a bad position. You are screwed. You are screwed, McDuck. Actual Lurk is now inside of that Nidus as well, so I could try to make things happen this time around. There it is, in the main base. Carrier on top of it. Oh, still gonna go for it. Alright. Spreads him out, puts them all around. I don't know, it's just something MAXPAX is gonna have to deal with. Bring an observer over and decide whether or not he wants to put more units in here as well to try and take care of this. Whopped in a couple of extra DTs. More supply once again in the main base of MAXPAX. Not really doing that much for him except for taking care of potential future problems now. It'd be great for MAXPAX to be able to just rid himself of these overseers flying in left, right, and center everywhere. Easier said than done, of course. Nine Nidus worms. Very cool to see. A little bit of an evolution of that Nidus worm usage, right? It's hardly any of them were really with any intent to force units into that main base. It was just all there pretty much to keep MAXPAX busy, keep him on his side of the map, make him feel uncomfortable, make him have units just stay back at home all this time. You can only have 200 supply, and if you have you know, 5 DTs and a carrier just dedicatedly staying in the main base, straight up fight is gonna, you know, be a lot easier then for your opponent. Burrow completed. Spire number 2. Transforming into a graded spire. That's the beautiful reveal popping out of his cocoon. We all thought he would become a butterfly, but instead we got a graded spire. And that's how life is sometimes, guys. More carriers with the +2 weapons upgrade now as well coming in. There's a big beefy ball of stuff there in the middle for MAXPAX, but yeah, he's gonna have an extremely rough time, it seems, just getting this army where it can actually deal damage. Look at that infrastructure setup for Serral. Serral quite comfortable with how many bases? 5 bases? I mean, he's quite comfortable. But I think he may need to figure out a way to get the expansions going as well. To be fair, with him transitioning back into that Brood Lord Infestor army, yeesh. So how efficient it was against Showtime. Will MAXPAX be able to have some sort of a, an answer to this type of play? Gotta be on top of those feedbacks. No time to waste. One bad fungal on those stalker numbers and it could be a horrible time for you. Alright, DT's getting the value that they can. TP out of there and ooh, there we go. Instantaneously, as soon as he notices that there's an attempt to an expansion, There is MAXPAX trying to make it more difficult, but Serral hot on the heels of MAXPAX, making it just as uncomfortable for his opponent as he just made it for Serral. 2 DTs as well. Great stuff here for MAXPAX, just continuously applying pressure to that base, endlessly denying it. That's that bottom right side. It's been mining for him, right? It's going now, and it's going quite well. Going to be seeing the income advantage most likely turn into the favor for MAXPAX. To be fair though, those bank numbers of Serral, they are a little bit intimidating. Hopefully MAXPAX would like to see him drag this out a little bit longer, with him on the higher base count, especially if he gets rid of that top left side again. I mean, he should slowly gain the upper hand money-wise. As long as he's training out efficiently enough, I would have to add. Is that what we're seeing here? Hard to say. Couple of probes going down. Flying Proto City is coming into the rescue though. Engagements here, Disruptus, good Viper yoink. Gets the Queen. MAXPAX getting some headway on that flank, and he did keep that Nexus alive. He lost the probes. And he's only on 35 probes actually. He's only on 35 probes. Man. That's a problem. That is a big problem. I thought his economy was still doing okay, and it kind of was starting to gain the upper hand, but with all those probes dying in the bottom right side, he just didn't have the numbers really to allow that to happen in the first place. Now he's in an even worse position, just strength-wise here. Ooh, mothership! Does get taken out. The army couldn't quite protect the mothership, but they take revenge. Which is all a proud mothership could ask for in a time like that. Once again, breaking through the static defense here. It's taking a while for MAXPAX to chew his way through all of this, but not too long apparently. The army just arrives and manages to kick it back out of there. Serral, he claimed another place, man. He claimed another little mining area. With the Ridge Vespian Geyser as well. Top left side, more and more inside of his control now. He's getting closer and closer to those expansions of MAXPAX in the top side. At 12 o'clock at least, right? Now it's still mining. A very valuable place. For MAXPAX. It's going to become easier and easier for Serral to try and push into. Circlings, forcing those High Templar to become Archon. There's the Broodlords now. Part of the composition we've not quite been seeing just yet this game at least, but decides to bring it out once again. Had a lot of success so far with the Broodlords versus Showtime. Gonna be good against Mr. MAXPAX here as well. We're not quite sure. All the carriers and the Archons pushing on forwards. Is this enough for the Protoss? Serral mostly has Corruptors remaining. Mostly remaking more Corruptors. That's a good horde of Broodlords though, ready to mingle. This engagement here. Zerglings on the bottom right side gonna be met by those Dark Templar. Dark Templar actually also in the main base. Okay, Serral's Zerglings do win out this bottom right side fight, so hopefully for them they'll be able to start mopping the floor with this Nexus pretty soon. A walloping round attempted by MAXPAX, but just not enough units there quite yet. Maybe the next round it will finally be able to clean up the Zerglings. There we go. Does secure it once again, and I mean, I just want to point out, guys, still 32 workers for MAXPAX. 32 workers. This kid has been running around with just pocket change that his parents are giving him, right? And Serral here is like the Bank of England. But MAXPAX somehow, some way, still putting up a wonderful fight overall by denying the Broodlords to participate in the overall battles. So he comes in and very quickly just heads on out of there again. Has pretty good counter defense or offensive as well. Zealots striking the drones right there. Serral a bit more on the wealthy department, of course, as we said, 52 workers, not a great amount, but still has 5k minerals in the bank, about 3k minerals in the gas, guys. Oh, he's 3,000 gas, just about. Lucas moving forward there is again, like, this is one of the most important bases right now, needs to be cancelled. MAXPAX at the same time can't afford to lose his bottom right side. And there it is, alright. A little bit of a sudden GG, but it's an understandable one, right? Definitely understandable. Serral just gained too much control of the map. And that just didn't seem to be a great way for MAXPAX to bring himself back into that one. Serral, probably the player that we all kind of anticipate to win now at this moment in time, right? After seeing the first match. After seeing him go up against Showtime as well. And just the way he handled Showtime ever so efficiently. It does seem like Serral has been putting in some extra hours into StarCraft 2 again. Hitting his strides once more. And this Broodlord style that he's showing us. I mean, I've seen Infestor Broodlord, right? I know it's out there, but the way he plays it, it feels like it's a brand new strategy, if that makes sense. I don't know. I would love to see like an in-depth analysis of everything that he does differently with his Broodlords Infestors as opposed to what people were doing before. Remember when people were saying, well, this clearly doesn't work. Right? What are the things? What's he doing differently? What exactly? How is he making this just look so incredibly broken? Does it just come down to how good at control he's gotten? Or is that just a difference maker here? I'm not entirely sure. It's an interesting question to pose. I'm gonna just let us all wonder on for a while. There you go. Stargate for MAXPAX. Good clean start to the match. Once again, a little Zergling. A little lucky Zergling boy, or perhaps unlucky, depending on how you look at it. Because he will die, but gets a little glimpse inside of the entirety of the Protoss base. So I guess you can't really call it a little glimpse. It's quite the stare into the base of MAXPAX, I suppose. Opens up with the Void Ray, gonna make things hard to see for Serral. And then following it up with that Oracle, the Overlord seemingly to have disappeared. Look at that. Trying to get it to safety, move to it to the bottom left side, the Void Ray. Can't quite find it. Well, it's going to keep Serral's Overlord alive after gaining all that information. Not bad. I guess he could have sent it back earlier as well, because he got the information with the Zergling instead. Very well done. Void Ray! Oh my god! Oh. Ouch. Investing the recall there as well, right? It's just more energy that's no longer gonna be Chrono Boost and stuff like that. I believe that's 3 workers in total going down here. But seeing that Roach Warren coming down, more queens in the production tab. 65 out of the 98 supply available right now for Serral. I guess he made some extra overlords perhaps, right? It's not necessarily gonna be a queen push, right? Right? Let's making more overlords. Lair coming in. I mean, if there's one player I would see as, you know, not necessarily wanting to do the queen pushes, I think it could be Serral. But maybe that's just a wrong idea I have about Serral. Curious. 2 Void Rays at a time. And now adding in the Robo Bay as well. It's going to be quite a punchy army for MAXPAX here. Those Void Rays you do want to still be careful for. Again. No queen pushes from Serral. It's gonna just go once again into that late game. And if Serral, I mean, so far it seems like Serral's done it, right? It seems like he's comfortable in the late game ZVP against air armies in particular. It seems like he just managed to kind of figure it out a little bit. Just be perfect with your spellcasters. And it's kind of fun seeing all these different types of styles now being developed by Zergs in a sense, right? Because we have an entirely different approach from the Korean sector in a way, especially coming in from Dark, right? Where he brings in a lot of queens, the infestors for the Shroud, having the Vipers there as well, doing Neurals onto High Templars, and just... I don't know how he casts all those spells and he does it so perfectly, but it's an entirely different approach than... well, not entirely, but... It's interesting to see all the versatilities in the tools that the Zerg are trying to bring together. And then which one is effective in whose hand and, you know... which one isn't. Not everybody can just... be perfect with that Queen, Infestor, Viper control all at the same time. Single Swarm Host, a little bit of a mistake most likely. Hive Tech about to finish up with that Spire already sitting pretty in a natural base. Just waiting, patiently biding its time. Void Ray speed and +1 air weapons also coming in. Together with a couple of carriers, of course. How would you beat this as Protoss? Again, if you're up against Serral, what kind of army composition would you want? Feels like you need to have... You need to have a lot of Void Rays against the Corruptors, if that's the way you want to break it. But you also need the... I guess the High Templar, right? There's not really a good way around not having High Templar. And casting the feedbacks onto the Infestors and the Vipers. We'll have to wait and see. little bit of aggression from MAXPAX. Nothing too big. It's already moving back again. Just doesn't want the creep spread to be as much out of control as it is. I can't believe that Swarm Host is actually getting a value right now. Getting 3 probes so far. Might as well make it happen, right? If you're Serral, you're always waiting for new things to do anyway. So having a little Swarm Host around to multitask while all the other things are going on. Why not? Why not? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Alright, well. Making it work. Another Spire coming in. Double upgrades coming in shortly, most likely. And what is this? Oh boy. MAXPAX suffering from some connection issues. And here we go. Continuing onwards. Game number 2. Serral, of course, still in a position to move on forwards. If he wins this game, he will qualify for the main event of the King of Battles. MAXPAX will require 2 more victories underneath his belt. And things are looking a little bit tense for him right now. He's definitely struggled in that first game, trying to combat Serral's army. Serral seemingly being as efficient as imaginable with the Broodlord Infestor army. It's been a while since I've seen someone be this efficient with them and not just kind of lose because their army isn't quick enough. Okay, MAXPAX starting to clear out the creep. I'm gonna say that is incredibly important right here. Again, we well, as the Protoss, we're gonna try to minimize the amount of information that Serral can have in order to anticipate your movements and position those Broodlords where they need to be. Oh, a wonderful fungal right there. My god. I'm sorry. A wonderful fungal right there onto those Void Rays. Catching a good chunk of HP, but MAXPAX manages to retreat into a safe area. Another Stargate coming down. Already making 3 carriers at a time. We're gonna make that 4. The little Swarm Host boy still sitting in this corner. Hasn't been shot for a while now. Again, see, I guess even the multitasking of Serral has its limits. And that is perfectly fine. Needs to go along with the grand scheme of things rather than trying to be as efficient as possible with a little Swarm Host unity made accidentally. Circling run by here is going to be met with more than enough, right, to defend this Nexus. Will it be? Oh, my Adrenal Glands is pretty good. Does get the Nexus. MAXPAX back down to full bases now. Against a Serral. Sitting pretty on a 5 base economy. Starting to set up more and more Spore Crawlers. This appears to be one of the ways that he's kind of approaching this, right? It's gonna sit on the 5 base for a while. That's when he sets up all his static defense. He doesn't go for his 6 base unnecessarily. That 6 base is just lost in resources, I suppose, and an area... well, you're kind of exposing yourself in places where you cannot be all the time with your Broodlords. Keeping the bases a little bit closer together like this, right, makes it a lot more doable, I suppose, to defend all these areas with the same group of Broodlords. Banelings mushing their way through. Don't quite manage to get on top of any probes, but find some value still, some Stalkers. Little changelings there. Alright. Banks going up quite evenly this time around. MAXPAX, of course. That previous game, we have to remember, he was on like 30, 40 workers for an enormous period of time before he actually bit the bullet. As both these players kind of poking and prodding their opposition, figuring out the compositions, checking for weaknesses, trying to find opportunities. MAXPAX here once again with that mothership that we've seen a couple of times today. Looks like he is gonna attempt a vicious strike. Oh my, that is a sudden fungal suddenly on all those void rays once again. Serral just keeps finding those void rays with his green goo. Sapping all their life force and allowing all the corruptors to come in close and cozy. And the queen's underneath as well. As soon as prismatic alignment starts up, you can get away pretty quick as well, as long as the fungal is still active. How many probes do we have? They are within the mothership area. So, okay. That only loses 4. Kind of a fun way to try and keep your probes safe on a new expansion. Just have your mothership on top of it, right? What your opponent can see, he can't hurt. Serral definitely looking like he has this down to his science. Once again, 2 Ultralisk, the number that he's choosing. He's making another one. I know it's just 1 here, right? I can count that now. There's another one on the production tab. So he's filling up the same amount of supply kind of every time. Same army composition. It's working out so wonderfully well so far. Ooh, a War Prism shot down from the sky. The Queen patrol in the area. Won't allow those types of shenanigans to take place. Axis stays alive. 14 probes did go down though. And MAXPAX seems to be struggling a little bit with recreating those lost probes. Guess he is on max supply, still around 60. So he's just going to try to take a little bit of a gamble. I guess you could call it a gamble, right? Sacrificing a bit of his overall accessible bank later down the line for having just a stronger army here. Having 10 extra army supply over your opponent could mean the difference between winning or losing one of these engagements here. I guess if you really go down into it, any choice you make in the game is a bit of a gamble. Right, Bennings once more. And not gonna find the probes again here. Well, the static defense is gone. There's still an Ultralisk and a lot of Zerglings ready to go to probe at Pound Town. There we go. That's now the Queen response to this massive air army. Shrouding himself up with the Queens. Transfuse needs to stay in effect here. Those Tempers still do quite a bit of damage to the Queens, even in their microbial shroud. Shooting the Spore Crawlers as well. Now MAXPAX gaining some momentum. But the bank for MAXPAX is going down a lot quicker. Having to reinforce these types of areas under pressure by Zerglings, Banelings and Ultralisk all the time. It does seem like Serral is winning out on that end still. His own defenses overall, I'm not quite sure if they will go down anytime soon. Bringing in more reinforcing spore crawlers, just recreating them on the right side and then just running them in. MAXPAX, after all this time shooting spore crawlers, I feel like there's more now than he started with. Can MAXPAX make something happen here? Some disruptors onto those infestors, that would be wonderful, of course, but they are in the ground, can't quite see them. As the fungal onto the Tempest, will it be enough? Disruptors don't quite manage to make the shots land. This army, it seems to be a little bit too powerful for the Corruptors to engage freely. Just waiting for the... Oh my god, look at those HPs! That is ridiculous. Okay, now the Corruptors come in after the Parasitic Bomb has done so much damage in combination with the Fungal. Is it enough now to just break the camel's back? Corruptors on the hunt, on patrol. Is this the moment where Serral takes claim? The second spot out of all three of them for qualifying in the main event here today. It very well may be. MAXPAX just barely hanging on. He is on 50 army supply. Only 30 workers once again remain hanging on by a thread. And Serral backing up again. Not gonna squander his opportunities here. Just gonna try to play it safe. Serral has vision of those Dark Templars, just not quite units to kill them with. So they are managing a lot of drone kills. And again, Serral's bank still in effect, still having about 200 supply strong. It's hard to see him squander this. 5 more Brute Lords as... Well, MAXPAX is focusing on the Tempest right now. Mostly air units. So if Serral goes too deep into the Brute Lords, anticipating MAXPAX to mostly reinforce with gateways, which is usually a normal response to a Protoss just losing a lot of air units and fearing a counterattack. Right, you do tend to reinforce with those gateway units a little bit more at moments like that than you perhaps should. And again, this army for Serral still looks so terrifying. And more than well enough equipped to take down this small squadron of carriers. There are Archons with it as well, of course. Now some Tempest coming in as well to add some extra support. Man, this is rough. This is so rough. Serral nibbling on the edges, and there it is. MAXPAX tapping on out of there. Another victory goes for Serral, and we have 2 players without a single loss making their way through the qualifiers so far.